Hey guys, got another Bauer cordless tool review coming at you today. This time it is the Narrow Crown Stapler. This stapler I bought entirely with my own money, purchased it. Now obviously I'll have a lot more jobs for it in the future, but I have driven, this is a 2500 staple box, and I've rammed through roughly about half the box already. If we get all these stacked up here. So about half the box has been rammed through, so that means, what, probably over about 1,300 staples have been run through this stapler. Now, in the grand scheme of the gun, is that many? No, this hopefully will do tens of thousands in its lifetime. However, putting over 1,000 through a staple gun, I feel like gives me a pretty good baseline. Real quick, if you haven't already, make sure you go down, click the thumbs up button, and also if you're not a subscriber, click subscribe. And let me know in the comments below if you think you're going to pick this tool up, or if you do have this tool, what your thoughts are on it. Let me know if you've had any of the same issues or relevant experience that could help support this review. A lot of people use those comments a lot of the times for additional knowledge or information. So make sure you leave those comments below. Let's just talk about some of the features of it. You've got an all-metal magazine here, which I think is nice. That means they're building it out of good quality material. I don't know if they could even build it out of plastic. Maybe they could. It appears to be aluminum. They also have a non-marring contact tip here, which actually was just a little piece of plastic that has fallen off of this one. So that's sort of disappointing. If I pull up the brad nailer, you'll see here there's a plastic tip on the tip of the brad nailer, where we lost it here on the stapler. So maybe it'd be nice if they maybe glued it or something to make sure it doesn't slip off like this one here. Not that that's a huge issue. I just don't even really know where to buy that little plastic tip to fit on there. So that was one issue. I guess another sort of issue with this Narrow Crown Stapler is, and I don't know how much of an issue it is, it more just bothered me. I didn't like it. In my limited experience with Narrow Crown Staplers, as I've not done a lot of work that's required this sort of tool, maybe I'm naive. However, this gets down to 3 staples left. I'll run it and run it and run it, and then I'll get 3 staples left and it stops running. And somebody might say, well, that's no big deal. You just take your next set of staples and you place it inside and you run those 3 out. Well, the thing is that anytime I ever tried to do that, those little 3 staples left inside of the magazine would just fall. They'd fall. I could never keep them up. I could never get, without a lot of effort, I'm sure if I put enough time and effort into it, I could run all of them out. I don't even know if there's enough space. Like I said, I never even got a whole new strip of staples in there with the 3 remaining staples from the other strip. I never got them in there at the same time because the other 3 I finally was like sick of it, and I just got rid of the other 3, put the new ones in the magazine. So potentially wasting 3 staples there every time. However, I admit that maybe there's some user error there. I didn't have that experience with the brad nailer. There was no issue there. It ran every staple until they were all gone. I don't know why this can't do the same. It will just stop stapling once you get down to 3. Does that ruin the tool for me? Absolutely not. The convenience of having a cordless stapler, no pneumatic hose to hook up to it, no compressed air, nothing like that, makes it very, very convenient to use. I do generally like it overall. Let's move on to some features. They do have an LED light down here that comes on if you click this button here at the top. So here's the trigger. Then engages the tool, makes it run, but then you also have a little LED switch, and that definitely did come in handy as we were doing a lot of this work in the evening. Not that that's really what it's for. It's oftentimes just to light up a work area in more dim places, not necessarily to work at night. But we worked way into the evening, and it did definitely come in handy. It was nice to have. You have 2 different settings here. You can do single sequential, which means, and hopefully you can see this, that you're going to take the nose of that stapler, stick it into your workpiece, pull the trigger, and it's going to shoot 1 nail. Or you can have on contact, where you just pull the trigger, and every time you hit your workpiece, it's going to put out a staple. So you probably can't do it quite that fast, but it is still pretty quick, and not pneumatic fast, but definitely fast enough that I don't know that anybody's going to be bothered by it. You also have depth control here. I did not actually experience any jams that I recall while working with it, so it was very reliable in that sense. However, I did have some times when nailing this into some railroad ties that it did not run these 1-inch staples in all the way. So these are 1-inch staples, and sometimes they would be sticking out just a little bit in different parts of the wood, maybe where there's some little knots, and just in general in the railroad ties, I didn't like to run them all the way through. There might be an 1/8 inch, maybe as much as a 1/4 inch sticking out some of the times. So not perfectly reliable in that way either. However, most of the time, you know, it wasn't a big deal. Just took a hammer behind it and ran them anyway. If you're using this thing to put together cabinets, bookcases, other cabinetry, things like that, I'm sure that won't be an issue running it into MDF and particle board and plywood. Where I was running it into solid pieces of wood, that's probably where that issue came up. But I would honestly say that that was probably like anywhere from 3 to 4 out of 100 where I would have that issue. May have been a little more common than that, 5 or 6 out of 100, but really not too bad. Like all the Bauer tools, nice rubber grips all the way around, rubber bumpers to protect the tool. Very aesthetically pleasing tool. I've not ever really been dissatisfied with the fit and finish of a cordless Bauer tool. I think they do a pretty good job of constructing them and putting them together as far as I can tell. One other feature, they have the rafter hook here, I believe is what they call it. But yeah, just in general, I would say a fairly reliable tool, not perfect. It does a good job, I'm happy with it. It really didn't slow the work down. The few, you know, little hiccups it had here and there, especially something as non-critical as, you know, chicken wire, everything being perfect and looking just exactly perfect, like I said. But definitely a good tool. I'd recommend it if you're in the Bauer line. For the price I paid, I'm happy with it, 99 bucks. And yeah, but hey, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. If you have any questions, constructive criticism, comments on the tool, anything like that, let me know in the comments below. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.